Hi Leo, here is a general look at your solar chart for, well, half of January and February 2015. And there's a lot of mutual interaction, you know, cooperative type relationships, and maybe having to compromise, maybe seeing how you can be more productive within the relationship, or there's just stuff going on within relationships, and you can do quite well in practical kinds of ways, particularly particularly until the 19th of January. This is very much a maintenance sort of time, stitching time, saves 9 time, keeping up with the lists, getting organized, you know, rolling up your sleeves, getting your act together, to do with health, maybe your own or somebody else's, to do with just work really, and daily chores, whether those are you being self-employed or in fact working for somebody else, and health providers, service providers of various kinds as well, anybody who provides assistance, but also you applying your skills and learning skills even to be of assistance to others, or just being you know, getting up to speed with things really. This area, by the way, is where you Leos have had this long-term transit with Pluto, and it might mean that, you know, it isn't, if you think something is just surface to do with health maybe, then it probably isn't. I mean, a lot of health imbalances have roots in the deep past, but there's a lot going on now to the whole of our planet as far as the changing of the frequencies is concerned. So it might be that you need to look at getting to grips with health issues in a different kind of a way, and you've got to understand that maybe those roots go much, much deeper than you ever imagined, and that again, you know, that can be to do with somebody else as well as yourself, you know, either or. It can also be related to the way you do your work, the ones around you doing your work with. Pluto always likes to be in control, so there might be there might come a moment of a crunch moment where you feel that there is a little bit of coercion going on. You know, you're having your arm twisted on something, or you don't like somebody else's style, your values are clashing, or you maybe had set the bar too high regarding health or regarding anything to do with work, you know, or just, yeah, anything to do with the job. And at this time in January, there is a certain amount of change and uncertainty around for us all. All of the signs have got this. So maybe you need to make sure you keep lines of communication open and courteous and flowing, but at the same time, just try to process feeling a bit stymied, a bit stuck, or maybe you're not looking in the right direction, and then you're slowly trying to get your orientation right, for the smoothest, smartest, easiest, quickest even way to resolve this or that or the other problem, or to work through this, you know, this, digest this thing, process this thing, go through this protocol, whatever it is about. And that's me really going off at a tangent, but hey, that's one of the things, you know, you've heard it first here, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you heard it in a different way somewhere else, or maybe you knew already. But this area here is you know, it's got this long-running transit of Pluto, so things will be more than casual, I would say, and there is this mood around of uncertainty and indecision and not quite knowing how it's going, you know, and at the same time we've got Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde can mean that we have to go over something a little bit more thoroughly. We've got to dot the I's, cross the T's. We've got to work it a little bit more a little bit harder. However, Mercury's from the 11th of February, Mercury is going direct again, and that will definitely mean that results start coming in. Perhaps things start to unfold, things run more smoothly. So there is that to look forward to. Now the Sun moves from the 19th of January into the next area. So that's from the 19th of January to the 19th of February into the area of close relationships, whether these are formal type relationships, business ones, whether that's, you know, something a bit more personal in your life. And this is a time to just, you know, you can do better with two heads are better than one, really. Do better with the support, with the contribution, with the headspace, with somebody else throwing a different slant on it, yeah. And that will be up until the 19th. At the same time as that's and definitely bouncing ideas off each other. That's going to be very useful to you. But things might be a little bit sort of wheels slipping, you know, not going as fast as you'd like it to go, or you not being absolutely as confident as you'd like to be. Maybe up until after the 11th, things are likely to go a little bit more smoothly. However, for all of the signs, there is this energy of a little bit of confusion around and lack of clarity. I don't have the feedback I want. I don't have the information I want. You know, there isn't the proof here yet. So really, this month, excuse me, February and January as well, it's a question of trust. In a lot of instances, it's just that, you know, that human thing that says, okay, well, no matter what it looks like now, but I'm just going to trust in the best result that I can imagine, you know, and oftentimes that is probably just about the best way you can do it. So letting go and letting God. But don't be unrealistic, because that's another danger that's going on here over January, February, is total lack of realism, total sort of airy-fairy, you know, setting the bar too high. So just be realistic and just be thankful for the benefits, thankful for, you know, count your blessings and work within the limitations of the situation, but just be grateful for that, for those little you know, the flowers along the way. Really, that's all I can say about this. Yeah, and then if you do that, you may come out the other end of this really relatively short transit period a lot better off than you were when you went in, because you kind of walk through the valley of doubt and uncertainty to get to the other side. Of course, you do have Saturn and Uranus in a really, really good angle to your sun sign, and you've got Jupiter in your sun sign. So you do have a lot going for you this year, Leo, to back you up. Now, Venus is in a very sensitive place. So is Mars. Both of them are in there until the 20th and 21st and the 20th. So they both move out of there at more or less the same time. But this is a place of deep pondering, introspection, weighing something up, feeling very sensitive, feeling quite intuitive though as well. A lot of kind of mulling things over, whether that's to do with material things like finances and property, or whether it's to do with feelings in a relationship, or because of a relationship, or just your inner values, and having to think, you know, always having to think in terms of, okay, how are they going to take this? How are they going to feel about this? Their rules, their regulations, or their moods, or their values, you know. So always having to just defer a little bit, because you haven't got the individual freedom. You can't act independently in these sorts of areas, and maybe you don't want to be acting independently. But negotiations could tend to go in your favor during this time in a material sense. Materially, you could be getting a boost. Somebody could just be there, you know, it's a very dynamic energy. So in the love department, it could be quite sizzly as well. It all depends on where you are on your timeline, but you definitely, well, I should say probably, have to feel your way rather than think your way forwards in this area here, because it is not a very sort of logical area. And then both of those move out of there on about the 21st and go into a very expansive area where it's no longer introspective. But then the sun takes their place on the 19th. So the sun moves in there. They're all in there between the 19th and the 12th, just for like 24, 48 hours. They're all in there together and putting the emphasis on this very sort of inwardness. So that's between the 19th, the 20th and the 21st, even though Mars moves out of there on the 20th. So, and then that area, that inward drawing, introspective, self-reflective area is amazing, because it is the area of transition. It's the area of coming to a deep knowing about something. I mean, some of you may even get, you know, psychic advice, or it's more easy for you to touch into your own God self knowing, as long as you are selfless and you come, you know, you shove your ego away and you're just there asking. As a creation on this earth, right? Doesn't matter what you look like, it's just a life force on this earth, and that can be quite surprising. So yeah, and Mars and Venus then take the emphasis out of there, although the Sun is still putting the emphasis in there for the rest of the forecast period, and Mars and Venus moving out into this. So making plans, wanting to expand now, feeling more confident, feeling more sure of your ground, still gathering the information, maybe getting your ducks in a row with the research, because that area, that inward area, is also to do with research. And just getting it all, mapping it out. So, but when the Sun, when Mars and Venus do move, then you feel more like, okay, I'm stepping out into it now. You know, I'm beginning to experience it now. I'm learning more, and it's more logical, it's more rational, it's far more left brain than the previous area. And you pushing the envelope of daily life, you getting outside of the box, you connecting with people at a distance is more likely with Venus. In that area there, and you connecting, maybe traveling, you connecting with knowledge, which is very, very different to what you're used to knowing. It can be language, it can be culture, which is different to what you're used to. It can be equipment, it can be, you know, something technical. I mean, it's very much an area of education, but also communication as well. You could be valuing it and admired for your knowledge. You could be valuing and admiring somebody else for their knowledge. You could be getting very, very sort of doing business with somebody who's at a distance from you, or somebody who's just got a background that's very, very different to yours, and an expertise that's very different to what you know. So it's very, very useful to have both Venus and Mars there. The Sun goes into that gear shifting area, as I said, so there is still this feeling of gear shifting, gear shifting, gear shifting. Of course, the big news is that we've got Saturn in a new area in a positive angle to your Sun sign. That's up until June, and it can mean ultimate success if you do take the long view and pay more focused, nurturing attention to creative activities or investment projects, or to children, or to grandchildren, but also to your own inner child, your own spontaneous urge to be creatively self-expressive and not self-critical and sort of all grown up and serious about it. This is where more disciplined, step-by-step, patient approach will allow you to flower, will allow you, with Jupiter in your sign until August, and Saturn here, and Uranus in a very good angle coming from another area, then it's like, you know, once every 12 years you get the chance to put out these amazing, exotic, beautiful flowers. which are just like wowing and astonishing everyone, or just you, maybe, if you just want to keep it to yourself. But and also fruits, and so this is really the time to kind of get over yourself and give yourself a chance, kind of wing it a little bit more as well sometimes, although the big fault with Jupiter is really overlooking important details and not reading the small print and being too up in the clouds with it all. But it's not a huge problem. So just if you just tell yourself, come on, keep your feet on the ground, keep it real. In fact, I would say that in very early February, there might be some uncertainty or some maybe unrealistic expectations to do with somebody in a relationship, whether it's a working one or in your private life. And also, particularly in the second half of February, you might feel a little bit downhearted because actually you've maybe been unrealistic, or you've been too much in the, putting on the rose-tinted glasses. So you just got to sort of pull yourself up and realize that actually there's a lot to be grateful for, and there are many happy moments, and actually you have gained, but it just needs you to just change your perspective that little bit to see that you are gaining, and you have gained, and you will gain more in whatever it's about for you. All right, but sometimes we get so used to going one way in our thinking that we don't realize that we've missed the flowers along the way. And you, Leo, is born 25th to the 29th of July, or with 2 to 6 degrees rising, will feel this energy the most in the forecast period. Jupiter, as I say, has you taking off in perhaps several new directions, and it's a real growth spurt time for you, Leo, and as much as you will allow, as much as you will give yourself permission to do, but more travel is likely for some of you, depending on where you're at in your life. Foreign connections with people who've got the knowledge of a field of knowledge, and maybe you learning something new, maybe you putting the information out there in a bigger kind of a way, maybe you sourcing the information from a wider range of places, and sort of very different concepts to what you're used to. And this is really the time for you to reach up for the golden ring, on the merry-go-round of life. But even if you pull off the golden ring and you go, oh, actually, no, that's just painted, I'll chuck that one away. You've still got Jupiter there for those many months to try again, because you may find yourself going down one option, taking one track in your sort of direction or your thinking, and then once you get what you need from there, veering off and going in the other direction. But you had to go that way in order to realize that you needed to go that way, and that's the way life is, really. And you, Leo, is born the 6th to the 12th of August, so with 14 to 19 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. And that's it for this month. And if you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. And also this is written up on my website, probably a little bit more than I've given you here. And remember as well that you have your team in the background who are watching your back all the time and trying to get through to you. And I'll see you the next time.